Hello and good morning. Right, so I'm walking back from the pool where I've been suitably stretched. I also took the liberty, because today's Wednesday and I tend to have more time at my disposal on a Wednesday morning, so I took the liberty of doing my face exercises in the steam room. Because no one can see what I'm doing. Not in the sauna, only in the sauna if I'm the only person who is occupying the sauna. Right, so that said, in the sauna this morning it was about the hair and the skin. So it was just two of us, and it was a Catholic man. I don't know how we got to that point in the conversation. I think, actually I can't, so I'm not going to try and remember. But anyway, that said, we got into a conversation. It's someone I see regularly. Got into a conversation, and he asked me if I go to church. That was it. And I said no, but I used to. So, cutting a long story short, he challenged me to go to church, and I can't even remember the purpose of why I would go from his perspective, because I'd already stated that I stopped going to church because it wasn't working for me. Not because I went there for something, like sort of like when people go befriend people just so they can use them. I went to church because it's what you were supposed to do in order to make progress, in order to grow spiritually. But as I said, it ceased working because if you're surrounded by people who are not interested in progressing, and you are, chances are they're going to drag you backwards and you're going to start having bad experiences. So that was how it was. So anyways, I said to him that the only way I would go to church is if God told me that I should go. Actually, I know how it came up, how we ended up talking about that. My age came up. Right, so it turns out I'm a year younger than him. Can't remember all the details of the conversation. It was a while ago, it was 2 hours ago. Yeah, so basically, I said, so he asked me if there's anything that I do, is it diet or whatever. And I said, I don't accept the aging process. And he asked me why not, and I said, well, all the things that I enjoy doing, I'm a very simple person, all the things that I enjoy doing demand that I need to have a level of health and strength to be able to dance, to be able to play sports, just to be able to be active. I don't ask for much. So I asked him what is his idea of the reason why we need to age. And typically, he said, because that's how God planned it. That's how God wants it to be. And I said to him, well, God is perfect, and I expect better from God. And I sometimes think that he actually, thank you, I think sometimes he puts things in place to test us, to see if we are a bunch of hypocrites. Because sometimes we are willing to accept something like aging, for example. And I'm not talking about the cosmetic side of aging. I'm talking about the physical side, in the sense that people will say when you get old, you get this, you get arthritis, you slow down, you get deterioration, whatever. That's the side I'm talking about. People will readily accept that because they don't take any steps to do anything to prevent such things. And very easy to put it down to this is how God ordained it to be, when there are other things that God has ordained that we choose to ignore. So, for example, if I can remember that example, that's popped out of my head for a second. If it comes back, I will bring that back in making my point. But there are so many things that we don't do that we should be doing, and we hide behind it's a natural part of aging. Right, so I'm at this point now where I'm not saying that I won't talk to this type of person, but I certainly won't have them in my life. I will not have anybody who doesn't believe in, or rather people who believe I won't have people around me who believe in inevitabilities, right? Because if you believe that God can do all things, then for you to just say, oh, this is going to happen or that's going to happen, and there's nothing we can do about it. I don't believe that. If I believe that God can do the impossible, then I expect Him to do the impossible. So I do the possible, which is to get my ass out of the flat, to the gym, into the pool, into the sauna, into the steam room, and do my exercises. And then what I lack, i.e. knowledge, how to do things better. In fact, I've said this before, the face exercises, the exercises I do in the pool, every single one of them were inspired by God. Right, so that's His part. He provides the knowledge and I put it into practice. So I absolutely do not accept the aging process. And in saying that, like I said, people will think I'm talking about looking old. Right? It's not about that. It's about the physical things that happen to you, where your body starts to break down and you eventually become no good to yourself. I don't accept that, and it's a constant conversation with God, because as I said to someone as I was just leaving the gym, I am not the kind of person who is going to burden someone with the responsibility of looking after me at such a point in time, should I be unable to look after myself, more so because I failed to do something to prevent illness, disease, etc. So I'm feeling slightly under the weather at the moment, which I have been since yesterday morning when I woke up, but I've been self-medicating. So I'm going to walk past the flat and head straight to the supermarket to pick up the various items that I need, such as red onions and garlic. And I will self-medicate myself to the point where I'll be able to go to my training session tomorrow morning. But prior to that, to the pool. I just think, just to wind up, we accept things. We have no idea, no concept of who God is or what God is capable of. But we accept worse because we're too damn lazy to do better. Right? And again, I was speaking to a young man the other day, and I can't remember how that conversation came up. Because, you just start talking about things and then one thing or another comes up. So he said sometimes he makes excuses Oh, I know, we were sort of like talking about women again, about women dragging one another down. Yeah, so he said he makes excuses sometimes. But I said it, and I said to him, but do you encourage others to make excuses? Or do you try to find others in a similar situation to you, and you bond together with them? And he said no. And I said, well, that's why I prefer dealing with men. Men are more straightforward than women, in the sense that most times when I'm talking to a man, we're talking about football results. We're talking about sports, current affairs, etc. We're not talking about body weight, size, nothing like that. What's on TV, etc. None of that. It's literally about what's going on in the world of sports, entertainment, not necessarily entertainment, but mostly sports and current affairs. And that's it. We keep it simple like that. Nobody tries to drag one another backwards. We just have conversation. So that's it really. No, I wouldn't go to church, not unless God tells me to go. And I really don't see him doing that, because there is nothing at all in the world that I'm going to gain from going to church. And some would say, but what about what you have to give? Believe me, nobody wants what I have to give. Eventually they're going to start getting disgruntled, because that's how it was before, like 20 years ago when I was going to church. That's how it was. Even now, people don't want to see and hear you succeeding at the thing that they've given up on, or the thing that they take for granted as an inevitability. Sorry, I can never say that word properly. Right, so that's it really. That is it. Gotta know how you're walking, got to know what you're believing, and where you lack understanding. That's what it says in the Bible. If you lack understanding or knowledge or wisdom, ask God, and He will tell you. That's what I said. My face exercises, my pool exercises, all of them were inspired by God. It's information that came from Him. I do them and they work. So I'm going to leave that there. You look after yourself. Take care. Bye-bye.